Ladies and gentlemen, it's Monday morning, which means that Tom Lee has updated us on BMNR's Ethereum holdings and their intense buying operation that happened throughout the most volatile crypto weekend that we've ever seen. If we end up going through this little slide that I put together, what you can see and what's going to go down as a very good thing for BMNR because they're a net buyer and not a seller, that this little dip that we ended up seeing here was bought aggressively by the BMNR team. I'll talk about that in a second, but this all stemmed from Trump announcing a 100% tariff on China. This ended up losing the crypto markets about $800 billion at the lows that eventually ended up getting purchased and about $500 billion being restored in the markets. And Tom Lee was one of those large buyers at over 3 million Ethereum now, which is reported at $4,153 per ETH. We're now sitting at $12.59 billion in Ethereum holdings. Whenever you add on Bitcoin, their 8Co holdings, and cash, you get an additional $261 million. This is what Tom Lee had to say. The crypto liquidation over the past few days has created a price decline in Ethereum, which Bitcoin took advantage of. We acquired 202,000 Ethereum tokens over the past few days, pushing our ETH holdings to over 3 million, or 2.5% of the total supply of ETH. We are now more than halfway towards our initial pursuit of the alchemy of 5% of Ethereum, says Tom Lee. He also went on to say, volatility creates deleveraging, and this can cause assets to trade at substantial discounts to fundamentals, or as we say, a substantial discount to the future. And this creates advantages for investors at the expense of traders. He also went on to say that they put out another chairman's message, which is what they do about once a month, that explains their reasoning for investing in Ethereum and why they think that it's going to continue to grow and build the future of on-chain finance. I'm not going to show you guys that video today because it's about 16 and a half minutes long. Maybe we can do that for another video. Let me know in the comments down below, but you can check it out on the BMNR website if you want after this video. So if we take a look at where they were this weekend, at roughly a price of $3,700 per ETH, which is where it was hanging out in that dip, the weekend's total book value for BMNR or MNAV was about roughly $11.2 billion. Now, as crypto is quickly turning around, Ethereum being one of the largest recoverers, we end up seeing them add about $1.3 to $1.4 billion in total value, just recovering about $450 in Ethereum. As of the time we're recording this video, BMNR is sitting at about $15 billion of market cap, or about 1.2 times market net asset value to that Ethereum that we were just showing off. And that's not including cash, their moonshot projects, or Bitcoin. He also goes on to say, BitMine continues to attract institutional investor capital as our high liquidity is appealing. The combined trading volume share of BitMine and MSTR is now 88% of all global DAT trading volume. We continue to lead our crypto treasury peers by both the velocity of raising crypto NAV per share and by the high trading liquidity in our stock. But I wanted to quickly turn your attention to something else. One, we ended up seeing them decrease their cash pile from $456 million to $104 million, or roughly a $352 million cash decrease. But if we assume that they acquired 202,000 ETH at $3,800, which is roughly where that dip was holding out. And by the way, in their own records, they said that they were roughly buying all of their Ethereum during just the last few days and not the other days in the week. They said that they had spent roughly $768 million if we assume that average. That means that they had to have to raise $416 million this week, taking the outstanding share count from 284 million shares outstanding to 292.6 million shares outstanding. This is not something that they disclose on their own and that we require brokerages to actually update. However, at the time that I'm recording this video, they did not update it yet, so I'm having to do my own math here. If we assume that their market value at ETH's price of $4,153 is bringing up their market value to 12.5 million, okay, at 292 million shares, that brings their net asset value per share to $43 of ETH. So that means whenever you buy BMNR, $43 of that is Ethereum. The remaining amount is just the premium that Tom Lee and their team ends up receiving. But that's not a bad thing. If they continue to receive a premium, which right now is actually pretty low, 1.2 times, this actually allows BMNR to continuously sell off their equity to then go out and buy Ethereum. The strategy only works if Ethereum continues to climb over time. And if we end up seeing dips in short periods of time and they can buy that only to recover later on, that's great. We actually love that. But if it continues to fall and, maybe Ethereum ends up losing its status as being the largest crypto utility coin, well, then, you know what? BMNR will turn out to be a failure. However, so far, they are being very aggressive in the way that they acquire Ethereum, and everything we're seeing is pointing to Ethereum continuously staying as the number one coin that is used for on-chain finance. I'm constantly updating you guys every video of new reports that come out with more companies looking to use Ethereum, but this time it's not some small business. It's the EU's central bank that is seriously considering launching Euro stablecoin on Ethereum. This is incredible. This is what's going to take on-chain finance to the next level and make Ethereum still the number one play. Even whenever you see Swift Network and all of these other large institutions, JP Morgan, all using Ethereum, it only solidifies them as the number one play, and BMNR being by far the company that can acquire Ethereum the fastest. I remain extremely bullish on BMNR and have actually acquired even more on Friday and after hours, and even this morning. But let me know what you guys are doing in the comments down below. But until next time, bye for now.